There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Shawn the Book Maniac. Welcome to my channel. Here I am with another Friday read, sitting out on my parents' deck, and it's only moderately sunny, so I'm happy that I don't have the sun glaring in my face, but I have an umbrella to open if things deteriorate in that direction. This is the last of my new long sleeve blouses that I like very much indeed, and I realize I think some of you think it's really cute how much fuss I make about my blouses and asking, do you like it? But I think I also sometimes seem like a needy bitch. I don't really, I like my garments to be admired, but I do make quite a production out of it. I have two more short-sleeved blouses that are nothing too special. They're nice blue blouses, but I won't be making such a fuss about those, but it'll be time soon to go shopping for some more short-sleeve summer blouses, so stay tuned. I've had a good reading week, but it's also been very busy, and next week is also going to be very busy, so I just have to accept the fact that I'm not going to be able to resume my maniacal level of reading for a few more weeks, just because, you know, I haven't even started looking for a job, I've got immigration stuff to do, the lawyer's waiting on me to get some documents, and I haven't had time to do that, so yes, it's been pretty all-encompassing. It's going to continue to be so, but I'm managing to fit reading in and around the edges, and I will resume my regular broadcasting, my regular ridiculous level of reading. And in the meantime, I've got some stories from the previous week. Two of them are just some really good news, unexpected. Well, one's unexpected. So, Mom and Dad are coming back in from the farm. And I think it was Wednesday that the first 10 boxes of books that I had mailed from Tokyo finally arrived at the farm. I started mailing books in early March, and so this is now the end of June. It's July 1st today. Happy Canada Day. God. The first 10 boxes arrived. Maybe more have arrived since. Mom and Dad are coming back into the city today. So they're coming. They're starting to trickle in. There must be a significant pause along the way because I only was sending a box a day for the first few weeks. So the fact that 10 arrived on the same day means that there's kind of a bottleneck, and then they're all coming out in one. So there may be 20 a day by coming soon. I sent almost 140 boxes, so the first 10 have arrived. The other news that's shocking to me is that my stuff that I had moved from Tokyo has arrived in Vancouver. They said it would be mid-July, so it's earlier than expected. And they said, but with all the COVID and Ukrainian stuff that's slowing everything down, I shouldn't look for them much before the fall. So the fact that they're here 2 weeks earlier is a huge surprise and very pleasant. There was nothing particularly in what I moved that I needed right away, but I'm really happy that my PC, my Apple MacBook, my Apple Mac, iMac, or whatever they call them. I got a big, huge, fairly old now, Mac that I decided to move, and I've been missing that for Zooming and stuff, so I'm looking forward to getting that in the next week or two. I don't know how long it'll take to get from Vancouver to Saskatoon. Just my luck. It'll come at a snail's pace, and I'll still not get it for a while, but that's good news. And now it's getting very sunny. Am I going to need to open that umbrella? I think I'm all right. I just don't like looking squinty in my videos, so I'll keep going for a while, and if need be, I will open the umbrella. So those are the two pieces of good news, and then the last story really is not bad news, but it's just a frustrating. I'm having an incredibly frustrating experience finding bookshelves. Nobody read in Canada, in Saskatoon? I'm not going to mention any company names, but even by saying I'm not going to mention any company names, I know you're going to think of the worst retail companies out there, so fine, but I'm not going to mention any company names. When I look online, they're either way too expensive, far too short, or they've got all these curlicues and shelves that don't move, and just they're obviously designed for people that don't have books. Like, put your little knickknacks on or something, because they're pretty, but they're not functional. And yes, if I go on Facebook Marketplace, there's another company that lots of people don't deal with anymore, but the boy, I sure had good luck selling stuff from in Tokyo that way. If I look there, there's always people selling or giving free bookshelves away, but I don't want a mismatched set. Is that too much to ask? Because I could probably find about 5 bookshelves very easily in the next 5 days just by checking Facebook twice a day, and I could go and pick them up or whatever. It would be possible, but I don't want a mismatched set. I think at my age, I'm ready to at the very least, have a matching set of bookshelves. Now, I do have one bookshelf that a friend is giving me, and so that will be the odd one out, but I don't care. It was a nice 6-foot tall bookshelf that was a gift, like just given to me, and so that's great. So one that's mismatched, but I don't want 5 or 6 that are all mismatched. So I looked online at a major retailer whose name shall go unmentioned. They were particle board, 6 foot, 5.5 feet tall bookshelves, particle board with the fake grain, right? For $50 a shelf. I said, can this be real? And with free shipping. So I went on the online help chat thing, and that said, is it really free shipping? And blah, blah, blah. Yep. I said, I live on the 2nd floor with no elevator. Is that going to be a problem? No problem. Okay. But I texted my mom at the farm and said, look at this link. What do you think? And she hates this particular retailer. She finds their stores are so huge. They've got three of them in Saskatoon, so I know that you probably know what I'm talking about, which store I'm talking about. But anyway, most people hate this company. But rock bottom prices. And, I don't have a lot of money to play around with, and at $50 a shelf, so here I'm justifying dealing with it potentially. Is it unethical? I mean, what company isn't? I'm not very political about where I shop, I have to say, not like other fabulous booktubers are. But she said, if you have to buy them, because I hate that store, but okay, but at least go look at them in the store. So I went on the bus yesterday morning, look at them at the store, and they had them. But they were all in boxes. None of them had been assembled for a display. So it took forever to find. I walked all through the store, 10 minutes looking for anybody to help me. Nobody that wasn't helping another customer. There are very few people on the floor, just walking around looking to help people. So I had to walk all the way over, and it is a huge cavernous building. It took me 10 minutes to walk over to the customer service, and she phoned to get somebody to go over and help me, and she opened them up, and they looked fine. Yeah, I mean, for $50 a shelf, these brand new particle board with, they looked like IKEA, but, with the fake finish, or the fake wood grain on them, they would be fine to start, to get my books up. Because now suddenly I have a glut of books. I've got a whole bunch of books here that I brought on the plane or have bought since then. Now about 200 books that are coming from the movers, and the first 10 boxes from what I've sent by. So I have a lot of books to shelve, and only one shelf. I'll buy these shelves. I get 4 of them, $200. And I'll replace them with nicer, expensive oak shelving later when I have money. No problem. So then I went home to order them, because to buy them in the store, they don't do the delivery. They only offer the free delivery if you buy them online. Got home, had a nap, woke up, went online, and those shelves were sold out online. It's like, ah! So that was really annoying. So I looked on the website, and I did see the beautiful oak shelves that I had seen in the store in the morning that were gorgeous, and they were cheap. They were just over $100 a shelf, maybe 115 or something, for 6 feet tall, but they were real oak wood and lovely. So I ordered 2 of those to be delivered next Friday to my new place. Okay, well, I won't have as many, but they'll be nice, and I'll buy more when I can. And 20 minutes later, I got an email from the company saying that, not that my credit card had been declined, because it's just a debit card. There's definitely money in the account, but just said, your order has been canceled with no explanation. I logged into my account on their website, no explanation. And I started to wait to talk to a customer service rep, and I thought, fuck it, I don't care why it was, but the explanation is maybe it was out of stock, maybe any reason, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, I'm not dealing with this company anymore. So then I went back looking online and everything was either so expensive or not. Like, I want shelves where I have some adjustable shelves to maximize how many books I can get that are at least my height, because I have, you know, the fairly somewhat limited wall space. I want to fill my room with bookshelves, and then I know it's going to spill out into the living room, and Kenji won't be happy with me, but, you know, I don't want like 3 feet bookshelves. I need, or 4 feet, even 5 feet. It's too short. You're losing all that book space. So, so my mom could tell I was, even over text message, that I was getting pretty, getting my shirt in a knot. So she phoned and calmed me down and said, we're gonna go look around, and she knows of a few furniture places that might not be online, and they have stuff, you know, blah blah blah. It'll all work out. But at the moment I have 1 bookshelf and probably enough books for 3. Maybe not, I don't know. But we're gonna go window shopping for bookshelves over the next few days. So I'm sure some of you, especially Canadians, will be leaving me suggestions. Try here, try there. So I have tried all the big name furniture chain stores, or stores that also sell furniture like Home Depot and stuff, and some charge for shipping, which makes it so expensive. But we're going to go around to some of those stores and look and see what they have in stock, and I hope to have a few more bookshelves by this time next week. And this time next week will be my first Friday reads from my new apartment. I'll probably on the balcony, or maybe I'll go out and the golf course next door or whatever, but I'm very excited. Get the keys tomorrow, take possession. I guess today is the day I take possession, but it's Canada Day, so nothing's open. So get the keys tomorrow and get some furniture, the furniture that my friend is very graciously giving me, a whole bunch of, like a coffee table and a microwave and lots and lots of kitchen stuff. They're bringing that over tomorrow. And then the movers are moving all the other stuff from this house that we've bought or that Mom's giving me, and that's quite a bit. Sunday. So my first night sleeping there, I think, will be Sunday. I'm very excited. Okay, that's, I did go on quite a bit about the bookshelves, but I'm sure some of you can empathize, can relate. I think it's very expensive to ask for bookshelves to be custom built, but that might be the way to go in the long run. Anyway. It was frustrating, and I'm sure it will all work out. I do quite easily get my shirt in a knot when things don't go my way. I'm a bit of a powder. So I need someone to say, Shawn, take a deep breath. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right. Well, book stuff. I finished 2 and started 1. No bails. I will talk just briefly about this first one, because I am going to do a full review. This is a review copy I got from the publisher, and I've been reading it for months, but it just was the wrong time for me to read it more quickly. And it is GLBTQIA novel with an intersex protagonist by a Yemeni writer in translation, by Younis Alakhzami. I hope I have the pronunciation right. Translated from the Arabic by Michelle Hartman and Caline Nasrallah. And I really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star read. The main character was born to Yemeni parents, grew up in Saudi Arabia, and eventually the family moved back to Yemen. And it's very current. Like, I think it ends in about 2019 or something. It was really well done and a really good translation. I would recommend it. No reservations. Didn't quite work for me, but I'm really glad I read it and all the things that I learned about Yemen. It's put out by Dar Arab for Publishing and Translation. This is their logo, which I cannot read what those characters are, but there is the Dar Arab for Publishing and Translation. And they contacted me, I can't remember why, on Twitter, and sent me all of the books they have published, about 5 of them. It's review copies, but finished copies, because I do not accept ARCs. Yuck. And this is the first one I've read, and I will be doing a full review as soon as I can find time. I'm not going to do a full review of this one, so I'll talk about it at some length, and that is, I started this way back in February during Black History Month. Walk With Me, a biography of Fannie by Kate Clifford Larson. I love this book so much. I read half of it or more in the last week, so I just sank into it. But I started reading it in February, enjoyed it from the very beginning. But Fannie Lou Hamer was just an amazing part of the American Civil Rights Movement. A black sharecropper from Mississippi, dirt poor, the hardest scrabble life you can imagine, lived with daily racism. Of course, as a sharecropper, worked herself to the bone, and in a sense, her life was so incredibly ordinary until she was, oh goodness, I can't remember when she was born, but she would have been middle-aged when finally just all came together that the civil rights struggle was just boiling over in Mississippi at a time when maybe she had a little bit more time and energy to think about it, but for whatever reason, it just happened, and she almost overnight became a leader of the black community and fighting for civil rights. She was such a natural leader. She was so gifted, she was so eloquent, and she incorporated her own beautiful singing voice and singing black spirituals into the protests and speeches that she gave, and she just what the hell is that? I don't know. Anyway, let's go on. She rose to national fame during that historic, I believe, 1964 Democratic Convention, when a really well-organized group of black Mississippian Democrats, including Fannie Lou Hamer, who was way up at the top in the leadership, in just a few short years, she just skyrocketed to the very top of the movements she was involved with. SNCC being the main one. They did a formal challenge to the white Mississippi delegates to the convention, arguing they should not be seated, and that they themselves, these black Mississippi Democrats, should take their place because of the horrifically violent way that the white Democrats in Mississippi had been trampling on black people. And it became this huge deal during the convention. And Lyndon Johnson, the president, was very upset with these activists, even though he supported their cause. And he doesn't come off particularly well in this memoir because he tried to stymie them, including going to the podium in the press room at the moment that Fannie Lou Hamer's world-famous speech started, and talked about nothing for 3 minutes and then walked away, and everybody said, what the hell was that about? But he just wanted the TV to pull away from her speech. But it was rebroadcast on the news later that night, so it didn't really work, and that made her a national figure in the U.S. civil rights movement. Let me just insert a little comment here to finish the thought. LBJ didn't want too much attention paid to these Mississippi activists because he had an election campaign to fight in, I guess, November of 1964, and he didn't want the racist Southern Democrats to vote for the Republican candidate. That was what was going on for him. He was broadly supportive and did pass a lot of legislation that helped in the fight a lot, but he was also a shrewd politician, and he doesn't come off well. And Fannie Lou Hamer was not a big fan of his because of the way he played politics. You can listen to her speech on Zoom. On YouTube. I don't know why there are only excerpts of the video footage. That I really want to watch the full thing in video, but it's beautifully described in the memoir because she just talks about everything that's happened to her. When she tried to register to vote, they got dicked around by the civil servants in the voter registration office, and then the police chased them out of town. And when she got back home to the plantation, plantation's probably not the right word for the 1960s, what would it be? Anyway, her boss, the white farmer guy, was absolutely apoplectic that she had gone and done this, and fired her and kicked her off his property. So she lost work and was destitute, and then that's how she kind of got into and was supported by and kind of taken care of by the civil rights organizations that she got more and more involved in. And on their way home from another voter registration drive, maybe a year or two later, the police in that town, I think it was Winona, were Nazi-like in the violent way that they arrested them, took them to prison, beat them all senseless, the men, the women, and including Fannie Lou Hamer, and raped her, and forced other black inmates in the jail to beat them. And so that's all part of the story that she tells it in the speech. And she just had such an incredible way of speaking with her Mississippi accent, and she was just a magnetic figure, and just you can't help but love her. It was a really excellent biography in situating her and talking. If you're interested in the politics of the civil rights movement, which I very much am, I've read a couple. This is maybe the third or fourth book I've read about it, so I'm actually starting to gradually acquire a base of knowledge about it. But there's so much space in between the books that I've read that I'm not sure that I could still speak knowledgeably about it without rereading the books that I have read. Because I remember the first one I read as a grad student in the early or mid 1990s, so it's a while ago. But this one was so well done. The author, Kate Clifford Larson, is white, and I think she has just done a fabulous job. She also wrote a much less culturally important biography that I read and really enjoyed about Rosemary Kennedy, the oldest Kennedy daughter that was lobotomized and lived most of her life she was institutionalized for most of her life. What was I thinking? Of course, it was also a very culturally important biography. It didn't focus in an annoying way on the celebrity factor of the Kennedys, and really situated it in terms of mental health and the way that mental disabilities were viewed in the era in which Rosemary Kennedy lived. So I retract that comment. I cannot praise it highly enough. If you care about these issues, and her idealism, where she would not compromise, and so there was a compromise that was worked out at the convention, and she would not accept it, and she went face to face with Hubert Humphrey, who was dying for Lyndon Johnson to pick him as his running mate, and was trying to impress upon her that she, who quite respected him up until this very moment, needed to accept the compromise so that he could be vice president, and then he would fight for her rights. And just her reaction to that, she just, maybe her staunch refusal to compromise was not the best political move. I'll let others speculate, weigh in on that, but she just was such an admirable figure. And where are those people today? We need a Fannie Lou Hamer. I can't think of one. Who would it be? It's certain. She's just so inspiring. And this biography is not just a vanity piece about her. It talks about things about her that weren't perfect, and of course, she was not perfect. But from the first time I remember reading about her in the biography that wasn't all that great of John Lewis, I need to know a whole bunch more about this woman, and now I do, and I don't think I'm going to be able to shut up about Fannie Lou Hamer. Just go look her up on YouTube, and there is footage of her speech, but it's only 2 or 3 minutes, and you just get a sense of how important and special she really, really was. So that was an incredible reading experience, and I finished that late last night. Just was published, I think, in 2021. Well, I was almost finished editing the video, and I realized I didn't talk about the book that I started last week. So let me do a little insert, lots of inserts this week, of my initial impressions of the novel from, again, I think 2021, Radiant Fugitives by Nawaaz Ahmed. I'm really enjoying it, but I've read such a little amount of it that I can't say, with any conviction that it's going to be an awesome novel, but it's starting out excellently. I love the writing, and I love the acerbic characters. And the other thing that is shocking the hell out of me is that the narrator, at least for this first part, is the as yet unborn baby of one of the main characters. And she dies in childbirth. This must not be a spoiler, because we find out on page 2, he describes his birth. I believe it's a he, and the mother doesn't survive. She dies right after he's born, or while he's being born. And then he backs up and narrates, and I guess by osmosis, in the womb he was an observer of all this, and it just is the kind of thing that shouldn't work, and it really, really works, that narrative point of view. I don't know if that's going to be continued through the whole novel, but meeting the pregnant woman who's about to die, and I think she's a lesbian, because she was disowned by her father back in India, and she's in America, and her sister, who's a doctor, is in America, but they live far apart and they're very estranged. And the mother comes from India, and she's dying, I think, of cancer, but she comes to be with the daughter while she's pregnant and about to give birth. And there's a sense of guilt about the fact that she kind of let the father split the family up like that. But the relationship between the two sisters is really prickly, and there's just a lot of prickliness going on. They're both really worried about the mother, and she's come all the way from India, and it's just fascinating at the beginning. So those are my preliminary thoughts. And as I said at the end of my Friday reads last week, I abandoned the audiobook, which was horrible, but the book itself, Radiant Fugitives, has impressed the heck out of me thus far. I was really hoping to finish 2, but I didn't get there with the other one. So I have room to start 1 new book, and that has to be, and I still didn't bring that book up with me. I don't know why I always forget to bring it upstairs. The Marian Engel novella, The Honeyman Festival. Here's the GIF again. I do have the actual hard copy of the book, but just keep forgetting to bring it up from downstairs. I'm going to start that immediately because I have my Zoom chat with Dorian and James about it next Thursday night. But it's a short little book. That, and then I think Bob's the Booker and I will be chatting with Rešoketšwe Manenzhe about her novel, Scatterlings, on Friday of next week. So finish those 2 and maybe nothing else for next Friday. And it's going to be a very busy week of moving, but I will easily finish those 2 and probably not much else. So that is my Friday reads. I hope you're all having a great time. And even though I said I shouldn't be so needy asking for everyone's feedback, what do you think of my blouse? Thanks for watching.